What is up, creator? It is awfully good to see you. We're going to learn how to add alerts on a YouTube stream using OBS Streamlabs in conjunction with OBS Studio. Let's get some. I get a lot of comments asking me if the plugins and tools that are available for OBS Studio will work in Streamlabs OBS. And unfortunately, I think for the most part that the answer is no, because Streamlabs OBS, also known as Slobs, is sort of in its own world. It's got its own gig, and it's very hard to have a crossover from OBS into Slobs. But what you can do is take some of the, I believe they call them widgets from Slobs, over as a browser source into OBS Studio, so you're still able to have all the amazing functionality that comes along with OBS Studio and incorporate all the amazing features that come in from Slobs. It's an amazing, great thing. So we're going to tap into that functionality right now by helping you understand how we can have an animated GIF with sound effect appear during your live stream when someone submits a super chat or when someone subscribes to the channel during your live stream. So let's get into logging in with Slobs, and I'll show you all the great parameters and what's available in regards to design when creating these notifications. Let's go. Okay, here we are at Streamlabs.com, and as you can see, there is a button that says download Streamlabs in the lower left-hand corner. It's 240 megabytes in size. That essentially is the same, I mean, we're just relatively speaking, that is the same as OBS Studio. So it's got this one element where you can install it on your computer and run it as a standalone streaming software package. But we're not going to get into that. Maybe we'll talk about that in another video. I want you to log in. Now, I want to let you know that I'm already logged into my YouTube account, okay? And I'm going to show you how easy this is. When you click log in, it asks you what account you want to access through Streamlabs, so Streamlabs can see your data and return the appropriate information so that it pops up on your stream, okay? So I'm already, like I said, logged into YouTube. If I click YouTube, it goes to this window here. We're now at Google, and it's branded with the Streamlabs icon here. I'm going to click My Account. Then I'll click My Account again. And you don't have to add a password or anything. It just logs you right in. It's really slick. And the next part is to click All Widgets in the upper left-hand corner. And these are all the available widgets that you can bring in as a browser source into OBS Studio. And there's quite a lot of free stuff here. And these are some really cool applications. So we're going to get into the alert box. And here's the interface, just to give you a global perspective on this thing. The first row here shows all the available graphic overlays. Basically, it's an upsell. So if you click one of these, they're going to ask you for money. And we're not going to get into that because we're talking about notifications, right? The next row represents where you get the URL for the browser source to import it into OBS Studio, and we'll review that for sure. The next row after that is how you test your notifications, so you don't have to have a live stream going. You can just click the button and it tests it for you, which is great. And the next large section below that is where the rubber meets the road. This is where all the parameters are set that allow you to designate the animations, the music, the font sizes, whether it checks for bad words or not, and the list goes on and on and on. I look forward to showing you all aspects of this thing, so when you're done with this video, you will know exactly what to do. Let's go. Okay, let's talk about the custom URL that you have to use to create that browser source in OBS Studio. What we're doing here is we're not working with donations, okay? So we're going to uncheck that. Members we don't need, merchandise we don't need, CloudBot Redemption, and Streamlabs Prime Gift we're not working with. There are two buttons here, copy and launch. Launch opens up a window. We're not going to use a window source, so we don't need that. We're going to copy now the URL, and it copies it into cache. It says widget URL copied. And now I'm going to go into OBS Studio, and I want you to be aware of a great way of keeping your workload down in regards to efficiency, okay? This is really, really important. It's really a good idea to discern what sources are going to be shown in all your scenes, okay? So what you do is you make something called a global scene. So I'm going to change this scene from scene 1 to global, okay? Global. And now I'm going to click that plus sign, go into browser source. Here we are. And I'll type in notifications, hit OK. I'm going to paste the URL in there, and I'm going to add the dimension of 183 by 176, which is the exact dimension of the motion GIF that I've created for this thing. And I'm going to click shut down source when not visible and refresh browser when it is active. I'll hit OK. So what I've done here, right, is I've designated a scene as global, and I want to make sure that my notifications are easily added to any other scene that I create. So other things that may be helpful in global would be like maybe a background that's going to show up under all your other scenes, or maybe sound effects, stuff like that. So if I go in and I click the plus sign under scenes and I go with scene 2 as a name and then click the plus sign, all I have to do is select scene and then click, make sure that add existing is checked off and check off global. And now all the sources in global are automatically added to scene 2. This is an amazing work efficiency. So I want you to understand the importance of that. Always create a global scene with all the stuff that's to be shown in all your other scenes, and it makes making the scenes so much faster. Okay, let's test this thing for the first time. I have both OBS and Streamlabs open on the same screen here. I'm going to click the test subscriber button and let's see what happens. Haha, it works good. And as you can see, that is a meme that's commonly used on the internet, and I have created 21 of these animations for you, and I'm going to make them available. I'll put a little slideshow to show you what I've made. They're really funny, and I will make a zip file, and I'll put some sound effects in there for you as well in the OGG format, which is a requirement by Streamlabs. So you can download this thing, open it up on your computer, and you'll have all the assets that you need to have some really cool notifications for your live stream. Okay, let's move to the next part. We're going to start to dig into the parameters, and there's a lot of them. Here we go. Okay, let's dig into the general settings. The first setting here, called background color, is not viewable, and there's no need to really toy with it because you won't see it. It's just there for testing purposes, so you don't have to really worry about it. The alert delay provides a delay by which the alert shows up. Now, I'm not sure why you would want to do this per se, because, you know, we're dealing with enough lag with live streaming as it is. So I would set that as 0. The unlimited alert moderation delay. Now, what this does is it will ask you to confirm that it is okay. And I have tested this with OBS, and I don't see a way of actually making this work. It may only apply to Streamlabs program, standalone program. It may only work in that environment. So that's my guess. If I'm wrong, let me know in comments. I'd like to learn a little bit more about that. But for the most part, I'm going to say that it's really not workable with OBS Studio. Censor recent events is the same kind of thing. Layout is not really important because we're going to define that in the individual subscriber parameter page, and in the super chat area they have their own set, so we don't have to worry about that. If we continue to scroll down, we've got something called alert parries. Now what this means is if by chance you have a super chat and a subscriber come in at the same time, the alerts will be on top of each other. So by turning on parry, what happens is instead of it doing that, it does this. Okay, so one won't step on another one. So you can define that alert parry delay with this slider right here. So I would recommend that you enable that just so that it doesn't, you know, create two notifications on top of each other. And then we've got something that's really great, which is called the profanity filter. So in case somebody's channel name is wrong, then you can have it blocked. So I'm going to check off all of those. And then you can, of course, add extra bad words below in that field right there. Now let's dig into all the available parameters for the subscriber notification. Okay, now we're in the subscriber parameters. This is amazing. Okay, subscriber alerts. This is basically a toggle. If you turn it on or turn it off here, disabled means that you will not get subscriber alerts. So if you're a huge streamer, this might come in handy, but for the most of us, we're just going to want to have that enabled. The layout. Now this is going to take a little bit of work. The demo that I showed you just a little bit ago was using what you see on the far right here. When you select them, they turn black. So for example, if I made it this layout where the image is above the text, right? And I go in and save, and I'll save, and then I go back and I test. I'll hit the test subscriber. As you can see, the layout looks different, right? And you're like, oh wow, man, I wish I could put like a line return in there, so maybe, you know, Scott Fichter would be on the top line and thanks for the sub would be below it. Well, guess what? There is a parameter here. If you scroll down, it says message template, right? It says name, so whatever the name is gets inserted right there. Thanks for the sub, yo. That's what I typed in here, right? But guess what? This thing will accept HTML. So if I hit the back key and just remove that space and type in less than sign BR break return, I think is what it stands for, and then a greater than sign, right? That means it's going to put a break in that line. So if I save it and then test it again, watch what happens. Yes, it changes it so that there's a line wrap. So keep that in mind. So with different layouts, you may want to change the layout of your text and all that good stuff. Now you can apply animations to how your graphic comes into view. You have both a in animation and an out animation, right? So you have all these great different kinds of cool stuff to choose from, and then fade outs, you know, the stuff that is applied when it leaves view. I have all this cool stuff. So boy, you have a whole bunch to experiment with there. Text animation is the same thing. Now this is really cool because I really love what they've done here. They've got, if you make a selection, right, it gives you a little preview on the far right hand side, which is so freaking cool. So you don't even have to test your notification to see what this is going to do. That's cool. Wobble. I dig wobble. Okay, the next one is adding your custom image, okay, or adding an image that they have already set up. So if you go and click this little arrow right here, see it? It says select image. You have that, of course, is what you use to enter the graphic. This will erase it. This is a preview of it, and then this is a link image, which means you can actually reference an outside image from a website if you wish. And I'll tell you why that's important, because if I hit cancel here and I go inside the upload image icon here, if you see and click uploads, it says that you have 1 gig of storage. That's a lot of storage for a free account, really. But if you run out of storage, then the upload by link would come in handy because the image is not residing on their server, see? So that's fantastic that they give you that option. Let's go back in there real quick. I'll show you that you have all these graphics. I'm sure you've seen some of them used before. But man, I mean, why use what everybody else is using when you can upload your own graphics, right? And make it unique for your own live stream. So if I go to uploads, I'm going to select a graphic here. Let's see. I'll click the drag and drop and upload button here. You can drag something in, but I like to just go find it on my hard drive. So if I go into my downloads folder and go into completed GIFs, here's all the stuff that I've made, and I'm going to give this stuff to you guys. All right, so let me find a funny one here. Let me do, oh, you've seen this meme before, I bet. Watch this. It's uploading it. I'm going to click this one. It gets to a check mark. I'll hit select, right? And now when I scroll down and hit save and then test it, you can barely see it because I'm on the wrong format. Here, let me fix it real quick. Let's go back and I'll use this format right here, and I'll save it again. This gets really fun when you start to understand the power of this thing. Okay, test. There you go. The dancing cat. There he is. Look at that. See, that's what makes a live stream really cool and engaging, is applying your own animations that no one else has seen. Okay, let's continue. All right, so the sound, let me click the upload here just to give you an example. The only format that they allow is this format called OGG. This is not true. After further investigation, I was able to find out that OGG, WAV, and MP3 are allowed in the system. Now, just to let you know, if you're running out of hard drive space, right, and you want to free some stuff up, all you have to do is click the trash can and it removes it. Boom, gone. Okay? So that's how you get rid of your assets to open up some more hard drive space on your account. Sound volume is controlled here, obviously. Alert duration, okay? So sometimes when your motion GIF is, say, you know, if it's like 20 seconds long, you don't want your duration to be under 20 seconds, so you want to make sure that it exceeds or is at 20 seconds. That way the entire animation can be seen. Alert text delay is sort of the same thing. Enable, oh, this is incredible. Enable custom HTML. If I click enable, check this out. This is crazy. They allow you to modify the existing HTML that shows you the animation. You have your HTML here, your CSS, and you can insert JavaScript as well. So, holy cow. I'm going to research some more possibilities with this to see what people have done in regards to customization with this parameter. This is insane. I can't believe they allow you to do this. Hats off to Slobs. This is incredible. Okay, scrolling down, open font settings. If I hit the plus sign, it opens up. And we have all these fonts we can choose. We have font size, font weight, which means it's the thickness of the font is here. We have text color and highlighted text color. So, man, I mean, it's just super cool and super great. Now, I was telling you, wouldn't it be super cool if you could have the system cycle through multiple animations, like, so people don't get bored? And sure enough, I mean, I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? I clicked the bottom plus sign here at the bottom of the parameter page, and sure enough, they give you the ability to add 2 more animations. So it's going to cycle through 2 different animations on a random cycle. So if I click add variation, right, it gives me another parameter window of all these parameters for a second animation. I mean, seriously, this is insanely cool. So you can have, I guess, up to 3 graphics cycle during a notification. Man, that is just incredible. Okay, we're going to move on to the Super Chat parameters. Let's go. Okay, here we are in Super Chats, and just like before, you have an enable or disable switch, which basically turns it on or turns it off. Most everybody's going to want to have it turned on. We have the same layout parameters as before, and the alert animations are also the same as the subscriber notifications. So that's all the same. Then we have something called text to speech. Now this thing's actually going to read what the Super Chat says, and you have all kinds of wicked controls over this. Obviously, we have an enable or disable switch. And here's one that's neat. This is the minimum amount of money that you will allow the system to activate and read the text. So I don't know, if anything's under, say, $5, it won't read it off, you know, pretty cool. Then you can choose all these different languages that the voice will use, which is really cool. And we have something called spam security and spam repetition block. Spam security is interesting. It says, if you click the question mark, it says the setting that helps control the duration of the TTS, or text-to-speech, message being played. The setting helps control the duration. Okay, so basically, the more you slide it over to the right, it doesn't keep on reading and reading and reading, is what I understand it to say. The repetition block means that if someone goes and does a Super Chat and says, like, repeats a word a bunch of times or repeats a bunch of letters over and over, then it will not read them off. So if I click the question mark, it says the setting helps control the maximum number of repetition allowed in a message. For example, if the value is set to 3, then the message reads, I love Streamlabs, www, LLLLL. All those L's will be not read if you have it set to 3. So these levels, you're going to have to experiment with these levels, possibly during your live stream. I wasn't really able to get it to work during the testing. So it's going to be trial and error, but just know that those spam security parameters are there. Of course, we have your volume and include message template in TTS. What does that mean? It means, do you want the system to read the message template, which is located right here, as well? So I don't know. I think you probably would want to have that turned on and have them read their name and how much they donated and that kind of thing. I think that's pretty cool. Okay, now we're at the next set of parameters. The minimum amount to alert is just like the minimum Super Chat to read. It's a value. If it's set to 0, it will always show you the text no matter what the donation amount is. If you set it anything above the 0, then anything below it will not be read. I think from the perspective of a new streamer or someone who's just getting into YouTube and you can take Super Chats, set it to 0 because you want to just give everybody a shout out, right? It's the way to go. But if you've been around for a while and you get tons of Super Chats, then maybe not so much. I wish I was there, but I'm not. Okay, message template. That's the language that is shown. And the brackets are dynamically generated, so the person's name will show up and the amount that gets inserted right there. Cut and dry. Text animation is just like the other one. The image, I want to talk about this image thing again real quick, and I want to let you know that it's just like what we described in the subscribe notification. It's just like that, same thing. But what I want to let you know is the dimension of the GIF can be 1080p. It can be your entire screen size, okay? So my point is here, you could have a full screen firework go off. You could have confetti come down with a name. You don't have to have it be a tiny square. Here's a next level design idea. Let's say you had an overlay with like a frame with your faces over here, and you had like maybe a ticker frame around it or something, this elaborate layout, right? You could have a full screen animated GIF that's a transparency, and you could highlight little areas on the overlay and maybe brighten it up, or maybe add extra flame, or do some kind of cool effect to the overlay. Oh my God, that would be so wicked cool. That's next level idea stuff. Make sure you think about it and apply it. Let's talk about it in comments. I think that's like the next thing, man. Animated GIFs that are transparent, that are over top of the full screen. Oh, that is badass. Okay, next thing. Alert duration, alert text delay. This is all the stuff that we were talking about before. And enable custom HTML and CSS. That's all there and available just like before. Okay, let's move along. We have the super chat message settings. We just hit the plus sign right here. Open that up. It's a clamshell. Of course, we have the enable disable switch where you can turn it on and off based on what we want to do. We've got the minimum amount to show. They should put a $ in that description. That would clear this up pretty easily. So like just before with the sub notification, you define the amount, anything below it, it doesn't show. The font, self-explanatory. The font size, that's self-explanatory. The weight, which is the font thickness. And it's basically, I mean, when you're looking at these sliders and everything, it's basically programming the cascading styles for the output, for the HTML output. That's what these are doing for us. Then we have the text color, which is a hex color, which is, again, used in cascading styles, or CSS is what we call them. Let's go and click the open font settings. Again, this is just like the subscriber notification. Everything is the same. There's no need in going over that twice. And then we have the open alert variations. So we have 2 more variations, giving you a total of 3, which is absolutely incredible. And you know what else is incredible? Is the length of this tutorial. I know it was a long one. And I want to reward you. You truly are a member of the Alliance of Video Excellence, and I want to give you a gift, and that is over 20 animated memes that have specially timed text that comes in at specific points during the meme that support both the humor aspect of it and the message that you need for the notification. I have a bunch of subscribe notifications. They say thank you or thanks for the sub. I've got a couple that are also related to the super chats as well. So let's tear into the demonstration. Here it is. Okay, you can get a link to the zip file that contains all these animations along with over 60 sound effects that will go along with this. I got them from Freesound. They're all commercial free. I got a couple from the audio library at YouTube. Again, those are also commercial free, so use them at will. Have fun with it. You can get the link in the description. Yes! I know that I've been promising you this video, and that is how to live stream with Facebook and take the comments from Facebook during your live stream and embed them into the live stream with OBS. This is our next video. You can catch it right here. I will see you over there, and I want to thank you very much for staying with me during this very long video. Holy cow, it took a while. You truly are a member of the Alliance of Video Excellence, and I appreciate you. Stay strong and keep fighting. Yes!